Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
Welcome again to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki, and on Street Talk, what we do, we deal with the political, social, and economics here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Now, joining me tonight
is Dennis Burnside.
Paget Maynard.
We've got a lot to cover, so let's get with this Trump thing. He claimed that he can't be prosecuted. I mean, how did that get in his mind?
Well, there's a couple things. The illegitimate president of the United States, illegitimate because James Clapper a couple weeks ago laid out what everyone else knew. He was finally the first public official who's in intelligence or in politics who said what is obvious, that but for Russian interference in the election through Facebook, through Cambridge Analytica, through WikiLeaks, through voter malfeasance by hacking into voter rolls and voting booths, Trump wouldn't be president.
Okay.
So now that we understand some of the mainstream is starting to acknowledge that fact, Trump went on a tweeting tangent this weekend, which he typically does. I guess if it rains, he can't get on the golf course. He sits around and tweets eating Cheetos, keep his complexion nice and orange. And Trump said that he could not be subpoenaed. Not only could he not be subpoenaed, he said, I cannot obstruct justice because I am justice. Anything that I do is legal. He made the same argument Nixon made with David Frost back in '73, that if the president does it, it's not illegal. He wasn't as eloquent or as intelligent as Nixon, and he's a lot more clumsy, but he was essentially saying, I'm a monarch, I'm a king. If I say it, it becomes law. I speak it into existence, and because of that, I can't be subpoenaed. You can't call me to testify because I'd say if I want to come testify, and if I decide I won't testify, there's nothing you can do. He said that he is constitutionally able to pardon himself. And you see him, he's pardoning people, in despicable acts. I mean, go past the fact that he pardoned Jack Johnson, which is merited. The boxing champion from the early 20th century, who was convicted because he had the temerity to travel across state lines with two white women he was sleeping with. So that became the Mann Act, and he was convicted retroactively. And you know, it was a sham from the Jim Crow era. But the other people that he pardoned, it's a farce. It's a complete farce. And now you see him going beyond that and saying, you can't subpoena me. And if you do try to come after me, I'm just going to pardon myself. So he's trying to place himself above the law.
But Dennis, why would you need a pardon if you didn't do anything wrong?
Well, that's a good question. Why would you? Well, I mean, if you look at this Dinesh D'Souza, this man is a certified, stamped racist. His tweets and blog posts and books over the years have been particularly vicious against African Americans. And
he pled guilty.
Well, yeah, he pled guilty. He admitted his guilt. He violated campaign finance laws through his mistress. You know, the Republican Party with the family values, as they always like to tout. Typically, they get caught their hands in the cookie jar, and he was routing money through his mistress and her husband. Talk about a cuckold. But anyway. You had this happen, and he's sitting in the cooler where he deserves to be, and Trump comes to him and says, "You've been screwed," is what Trump told him, and he's going to pardon him, and he's making these targeted pardons with people who were convicted by Preet Bharara, by Fitzgerald, and also other Southern District of New York prosecutors, because he wants to let his guys know, look. Go ahead and lie for me. Go ahead and testify under oath and perjure yourself, because no matter what happens, if the worst comes to it, I'm going to pardon you, and I may even do it proactively. So we're heading rapidly to a constitutional crisis, and I can't wait to get to it myself.
Pardon or no pardon, you are still a convicted felon. I mean, officially, they'll say that's behind you. But the fact is you were convicted.
Well, so yes and no.
You were convicted.
No, yes and no, because
he only pardon you after the conviction.
Right. So history shows that you were convicted.
Yeah.
Oliver North.
Exactly.
But Oliver North, when he applies for a job,
that doesn't show.
It doesn't show. He's not a convicted felon anymore. And that is the cognitive dissonance manifested in America that we typically see, because those same Fox viewers who, when seeing a young black boy beat to death by the police officer for spitting on the sidewalk or allegedly stealing a pack of candy, will say, well, law and order, he deserved what he had coming. But when it comes to one of theirs, Oliver North, who betrayed the country by selling arms to release hostages after making an illegal deal before the election, and then taking those funds and using those to help develop crack and distribute it back to the United States through the Contras, shows you just how lacking they are of any type of moral compass. So bring us back to 2018, we see the same thing. We see Donald Trump proactively telling his people, I got you. You can see how I'm picking off these people that I'm pardoning. Just wink, wink, nod, nod, know that I've got you. And then, of course, he goes on to say, you can't subpoena me. I stand above that. And even if you think you can subpoena me and can convict me of anything, I'll just pardon myself. It's ridiculous.
And now, my problem with that, if you can pardon anybody else, under what circumstance would you be able to pardon yourself? You had to offend somebody to ask pardon. He is not asking pardon of anyone. He is pardoning himself. Well, that means he did something wrong.
Right.
If you didn't do something wrong, there's no need for a pardon.
Right.
Well, you know, the way that works with Fox viewers is you just say enough times it's a ruse, it's a witch hunt, it never happened, no collusion, no collusion. You know, he says that every other word. What's for lunch? I'll have a roast beef sandwich, no collusion. And they internalize that and they believe it, and it becomes their narrative. And if you look at polls this morning, 87% of Republican voters feel that there is no evidence of any wrongdoing by the Trump administration, despite the fact that we have over 20 indictments, we have over 5 guilty pleas, and we have people going to prison. And that was all in about a year. Contrast that with the Benghazi. You know, they couldn't say hello to you without saying Benghazi. And you had 4 years, Hillary Clinton testifying multiple times under oath, one time for 12 hours without a lawyer, no break. And they couldn't get one indictment, let alone a conviction out of that entire exercise. But it couldn't go on long enough. Now we have real crimes being fettered out, real convictions happening, and let's get this over with. It's been long enough. It's just blatant obstruction of justice. And I can't wait. Let me add this. I cannot wait to see the day that some of these people on Fox News and some of these people in the House, like Devin Nunes, see their day in front of the court of law because they have been obstructing justice.
Nunes going down. But You know where they got this whole thing about just say it and say it over and over?
Goebbels.
That's from Hitler.
Goebbels. Yeah.
You see? That
Yeah.
came from Hitler.
Yeah.
If
Oh.
you say it long enough and
Yep.
loud enough,
Yeah.
people believe you.
Yeah.
The big
Well,
lie.
And
The big
they
lie
take
technique.
a lie to be the truth.
Yeah.
And that's going on here in America.
Well,
Go back to what you said earlier about he acting like a monarch. Where you go back to England, America got away from the monarchy.
Mhm.
But now he wants to be a monarch, and now he thinks like James, King James, he
oh yeah,
he has divine rights.
yeah,
Kings are by God appointed, and damned be he who touch his Lord's anointed.
yeah. Well, he really thinks, man, that he's only law. He thinks he's only law in the U.S. Him.
Yeah.
You know.
He thinks he's at the apex
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
He's acting and talking like King George.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, you know, I don't have these wistful, blissful memories of the American Revolution and how the United States threw out a monarchy because our people were enslaved and in chains and being raped and murdered at the time. But if you're going to be consistent about it, and if you so despise the type of despot that King George was, if you really don't have a stomach for the type of totalitarian government that Hitler and Mussolini represented, then how in the hell do you stand behind this man here?
Yeah.
It just shows again the cognitive dissonance among Fox News viewers, which
Yeah.
are the
Oh, yeah.
base of Donald
Yeah.
Trump.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got a whole lot of traditional Republicans who are only less racist, hegemonic, misogynistic by degree.
Right,
Let's
yeah,
be honest
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
They're the same. They're just not as outward.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But, you know, they're holding their nose and they're being quiet and letting Trump do the thing because he's passing these huge tax cuts
Yep.
for the wealthy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's undermining all kind of regulations with respect to the environment. He's ruining the schools under
Yep.
this woman who can't spell school, Betsy
Yeah.
DeVos.
Yeah.
You know, some of the things that they'd like to see the president do, he's doing.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there holding their nose
Yeah.
and letting it go on as he decimates the Constitution
Yeah.
in this country.
Yeah.
Well, I figure when it's all said and done, we are going to be, like Mr. Laurel and Hardy, that show, another fine mess you got me into. Well, he's getting us into a mighty big mess. And it's going to take quite some time to clean it up.
Well, some of it are never, you know, and I, we talk about this. We talk about this all the time, man. It's like these people he putting on the Supreme Court, man, on different courts.
Especially at the federal level.
Huh?
Especially at the federal
Yeah.
level.
They, whatever they do and don't do, hey man, it's gonna be 40 or 50 years, man.
You talk about putting these people on federal court. These are lifetime appointments.
Yeah.
He had one guy sent up there. I mean, the simplest, most basic thing a first-year law student would ramble through.
Yeah.
The man didn't even know what
No.
you're talking about.
No.
Yeah, he had never taken testimony under a subpoena.
nothing.
He had never filed briefs. He did not know how to function as a lawyer. But yet they put him out there
Yeah.
because they knew he'd be a good functionary. It's Keystone Cops. It's a Banana Republic type thing. Today, this morning, this very day, the Supreme Court of the United States said that a store owner could decide
Yep.
that he did not want to sell a wedding cake
Yep.
to a gay couple.
Yeah.
Fine. And I even heard a whole lot of our cousins, you know, black folks, you don't have to, that's against God.
Yeah.
Okay. Now remember, today they say they don't have to sell it to a gay couple. Tomorrow they're going to say, well, they don't have to sell it to an interracial
Right,
couple.
yeah.
The day after that, they're going to say they don't have to say it to a black couple.
Right.
And then you're going to say, well, the Bible, the same Bible you use to justify discriminating against that gay couple is what was used to defend slavery and Jim Crow and will be used again to defend blatant discrimination. So when you plan your trip and you want to check your family to that nice Marriott, now you're going to have to make sure they'll take you.
Right.
Because now we're on that slippery slope. And you have sanctioned, legalized discrimination in this country where you can recognize sexual orientation.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's going to be race, it's going to be
Yeah.
gender, it's going to be whatever arbitrary reason some shop owner has to violate interstate commerce and deny you a seat at your restaurant
and this
or place in a hotel.
and this I mean, what was so ridiculous about this whole thing? He's got a business. So what? People come in and want to order some cakes. So he gonna look up, oh, this is gay because I can't make it because of my religion. I mean, come on, man.
Okay. I am not going to knock the guy for saying I'm not going to do this for that because of his religious beliefs.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Don't get me wrong now.
No, go ahead.
This is his belief and he cannot go against that. That's fine. But what happens when his own beliefs, now in another direction, he gonna do this just to appease a politician?
Mm-hmm.
When your belief was that you couldn't do this.
Well, let's rewind. Let's rewind that though. Let's rewind that before we go. Let's go. Let's rewind that though, because you said something real important. That's his belief, and that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, man,
What if it's belief that? What if
religion.
it's belief that he says he shouldn't serve you?
Okay,
That's fine.
he can't serve me. I don't have to go to his place.
Wait, that's fine.
If he doesn't want to serve me,
That's
I
not
don't
what
have to
I
go to
asked you.
his
I said,
place.
is that fine with you?
if he chooses not to, I accept it and I move on.
Okay. But see,
So you just accepted Jim Crow?
No,
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
You just acquiesced to Jim Crow.
no.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what
Now,
you
you see,
did.
what I'm saying is, I am not going to come in your yard and fight you because you say you don't want me in your yard. That's
not the
your
point.
yard,
Okay.
your property.
That's
I
not
respect
that's not a good analogy.
But
We're not
see-
talking about somebody's yard. We're talking about somebody who uses my public tax dollars to have paved roads that bring business to his doorstep. He uses my infrastructure to have water and electricity brought into his business. He uses all the laws and protections and education of people to work there and buy from there. All these things provided by us all, only for him to be able to say that I'm going to decide based on whatever criteria, religion, just flat out racism,
Racism.
arbitrary mood that day, that I'm not going to serve this group. And if you say it's fine, that's what he believes, then there's going to be a whole lot of people saying, yep, it's fine that he doesn't want black folks in his hotel. He doesn't want Jews in his swimming pool. He doesn't want Asians in his restaurant. You cannot say it's fine, that's his beliefs. What is fine is for him to adhere to the Constitution of the United States, which says, based on interstate commerce and the ability of us to freely move around the country and conduct business, we must not be prevented from eating in restaurants and dining in restaurants and staying in hotels.
Let me throw something else.
okay, go ahead.
Gay couple come to you as a minister.
Okay,
You're a Christian minister.
Mhm.
They want you to marry them.
okay.
Would you marry them?
Well, that's not a business, ostensibly. Ostensibly, that's not a business. So whatever they decide to do
But
within,
he's denying it based on his faith, his beliefs.
but he's running a business. So you've got to remember, a church ostensibly is not a business. We all know it's big business, but ostensibly it's not a business. So if a
But
pastor,
what happens to the other person's right to get married to whomsoever he wants?
whatever happens to somebody who says, well, the book of Ham says that you're a water server and a water bearer and server, and I want to enslave you. Why can't they just practice their beliefs? Paget? Why not? They
Now,
believe
you
it.
see,
It's Christian.
hold on.
No, you making that
Hold on.
argument.
You see, what I'm saying here is a person can go on anything he wants and say, this is my belief system. Since we believe that, I think that would come on the First Amendment, then he's exercising his First Amendment right. I don't say that I agree with it,
Doesn't matter.
but this he holds as his First Amendment right.
Okay.
Just like the gun lobbyists want the guns Second
Nah,
Amendment.
Okay.
they have it
Don't
right.
get confused with the Second
okay,
Amendment.
okay.
Go back to what you were just saying.
Okay.
He believes that, right?
But
They
His
believe that
beliefs,
too.
his beliefs stop at the end of his nose. He can't take his beliefs and attenuate my constitutional rights to move around the country. Now, I don't have to go in his church. There's no business in their mind.
In his church or in his store?
No, in his store,
in
yes.
In his store.
Yes.
Because his store
is interstate commerce.
It's public. And
public.
And the thing about it, what I would have done, number one is that I would have did everything, went through lawsuits and all these other different things. But the thing is that I wouldn't have wanted him to make no cake for me, no way. I wouldn't want these people there because they could put anything. They could put anything in it.
But again, that's not the point. That's not the law.
But I'm saying now. I would have went with everything, trying to sue him and all these different things. But I'm saying I wouldn't have wanted no cake from there, no way.
Okay, but what's that got to do with the law?
But I'm saying I would have.
You wouldn't have wanted the cake from the guy that didn't want your business. I got you. But what's that got to do with the law?
I'm saying no. I would have.
I'm with Ahmad here because look, if you are not
okay, so both y'all saying you saying you fine with him discriminating, and you saying I wouldn't go there anyway if he's going to discriminate.
No.
Because of who I am and what I am, what I believe in, you cannot make me a cake. Why should I argue with you and demand that you make me a cake?
Because they have the right to ask.
But here's what I'm saying.
He can stick $1 million bill in the cake too. But let's talk about what happened.
But here's what I'm saying. I'm saying I would have sued and everything else.
But
you sued.
But wait. I'm saying I would have went through the same thing, and then like 2 years later. They finally come out with the thing, or he can do this. But I'm saying I would have done all of that, but I wouldn't accept no cake from him, no way.
Okay, I probably wouldn't either.
I wouldn't even waste time to sue
I probably
him.
would after the fact, after I won the case and they said I got a right to go there and buy a cake from him, I'd have said, I don't want your cake. But what I do want is for it to be known that anywhere in the country you have a public business,
right.
You can't discriminate based on gender,
You're not supposed
race.
to.
No, well,
you're not supposed to.
You make an argument that you don't have a problem with it.
I don't. The issue of not having a problem is if this is the way he feels, I don't want his stuff.
Right. Extrapolate it though, Padgett. Take it past that one man and extrapolate it to other areas of discrimination and tell me you don't see the danger.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying.
So that's the point. That's the only point.
All I'm saying is if I come
don't focus on the one man.
If I come to you to provide me a service, in this case making a cake, I'm going to have to eat that cake. Like if I go to a restaurant and the waitress doesn't want to serve me, they keep ignoring me, man, you don't know what these guys do to your food
that's irrelevant, man. That's not a legal argument.
I'm looking at it from a two different perspectives.
I'm looking at it from the law. I'm not looking at if they put boogers in my food.
I don't
care about that. I'm looking at the law, Padgett.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the law.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
what the law says this. He should do it. He's supposed to. But what did the Supreme Court say?
Well,
he didn't have to. The Supreme Court decision is the law.
But you know what? I say they was wrong. I'm saying they were still wrong. Now
it doesn't mean they're always right, but it's the law.
But I'm just saying.
Well, now we can have a conversation because now we on law.
Yeah.
We're not talking about whether or not you want it, whether or not they put a booger in your food. We ain't talking about any of that. We're talking about the law. And the law is of 1050 this morning says that a business can decide for religious reasons in this particular case. But tomorrow might be something else that they don't have to serve the public because of their own personal beliefs. Damn what the law says.
See, and I mean, what I'm saying, man, is that.
And if everybody boycotts them.
I'm saying this. If they're getting everything that this business over here is getting, and he somehow his religion is going to say, well, I don't do that, I can't do that, and I don't do this. I mean, how is that possible?
The thing is, Ahmad, we don't have to look at hypotheticals. All we have to do is look at history. That's all we have to do.
Well, yeah.
Religion was used to justify the genocide of the Native Americans. Religion said that. Christianity specifically said that was fine. Religion said it was okay. Christianity said it was okay to kidnap, murder, rape, and enslave Africans. They said that's just fine. The Bible tells me it's just fine. Religion said it was okay to tell you that you couldn't sleep in a hotel or eat in a restaurant when you were weary and traveling on the road. The religious people said that. The law stepped in and said, no, the Constitution protects us from that type of discrimination. Until today, and I don't want to hear about, well, that one case, I wouldn't go there, or they might put something up. That's nothing to do with the law.
And I remember, man, going up and down the roads in Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, and all them places where if you was going, say, from Michigan to Mississippi, you know, you had to carry your own lunch because you couldn't stop at some place and eat, you know.
Remember the travel book that was out, Jim Crow, I forget the name of it, but it was a book that black travelers used to know where on route to where they were going, there were places that would accommodate them or let them eat in their places. We're looking at that now.
And this ain't been no 100 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I remember this.
I do too.
You know, so, and I'm not no 300 or 400 years old. I can remember this. And hey, this is something haven't changed, you know, a long time ago. I remember, and we about to run out of time. But I remember in Maryland, man. Me and another guy, we went to this in a place called Third Mountain, Maryland. It's about 40-some miles from Baltimore. And this was 1961. We went to this restaurant, and the guy one of the people told us we had to go around to the side and order what we ordered, you know, and we went out and kept going, you know, but that's the way it was. And this was only 1960 or 61, you know. So again,
I'll tell you, I'm gonna make a prediction for you. The National Review, the Heritage Foundation, all these right-wing think tanks who kind of set the tone are going to look at this court ruling and say, you know what, it really is up to the owner. Mm-hmm. So if Padgett rolls up and he wants to rent a room for the night at the Hilton or the Marriott or the Motel 6 or whatever, it's really up to that individual franchise owner whether or not he should be able to let Padgett in, because the Constitution tells us it's that based on this case that just happened on June 4th.
Yep.
So that's what we're up against.
Yeah. Okay, we gotta close. My name is Ahmad Shakaraka, and we catch you down to the next block. Peace.
See, he just like DeMar. I was arguing on Facebook.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.